The residents of the historic Black Beach, known as American Beach, filed suit this week against Nassau County for continuing to permit a practice they say is degrading their beach environment and quality of life. Here to tell us about it is Mark Dawkins, resident and chair of Save Historic American Beach. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
We're also joined by the group's attorney, John Henry November. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
So, Mark, tell us why file this lawsuit now?
Well, we filed the lawsuit after asking the county for the past 35 years to end beach driving at American Beach. So there was a state law passed in 1989 that stopped beach driving on both sides of our community at Amelia Island Resort and Summer Beach Resort, which are on either side of American Beach. And since that law was passed in 1989, we've asked the county to treat us the same and to end beach driving in our community. And the county has ignored us for 35 years. And so we felt that we had no other course but to file a lawsuit to try to end beach driving in our beach and protect the turtles and the dunes.
And so I know that here at Jacksonville today, we reported on kind of an intent to file
Hmm.
lawsuit that's required by law. And that happened, I guess, a little over a month ago.
2 months ago.
Okay. And so you filed that. But this is now the official filing of the lawsuit. What are you hearing from Nassau County?
We are not hearing from Nassau County. I mean, they have essentially done what they've done for 35 years and not responded, not to us directly as a community.
Mhm.
I'm not engaged with them. John can speak about the attorneys, but we're not hearing from Nassau County.
Okay. And John, tell us, what does the federal lawsuit say?
It is a suit for injunctive relief and for declaratory relief that Nassau County's beach driving policies are, in fact, violating the Endangered Species Act, and that's due to the loss and the death of turtle hatchlings there in Nassau County, and also the fact that it's reasonably likely, unless they take additional precautions and protections to the maximum extent practicable to reduce the likelihood of future deaths, that they can't do that anymore in Nassau County.
And I know in your filing, you included some photos, particularly of sea turtles, a sea turtle hatchling that appeared to have been run over by a tire on the beach. Why is it? I mean, we all love sea turtles, but why is it the county's responsibility to do anything about whether or not sea turtles are getting run over?
Due to the fact that the county permits others to drive on the beach, they are then responsible for that driving and any incidental take that happens as a result of that otherwise lawful activity. And so it's our opinion that they have to go through a detailed conservation planning process. And then once they've completed that process, apply for an incidental take permit from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to ensure that they've done everything they possibly can to ensure that we don't lose these turtles in the future.
The pictures that we're showing on the screen as well show people driving very close to or almost on the kind of lip of the dune. What is the role of beach driving when it comes to just kind of the dune ecosystem, and how is that relevant?
Well, especially for the Endangered Species Act lawsuit, sea turtles typically lay their eggs right at the toe of the dunes. And so the fact that they are allowing beach driving right there at the same place where sea turtles have historically laid their eggs causes a massive conflict. In addition, the tire ruts that occur when 4x4 vehicles drive on the beach makes it very difficult for the turtles to make their way into the ocean. And then lastly, when you compact a sea turtle nest, the eggs in those nests, the embryos can lose the opportunity to be born. So it's on many different fronts that it's important to take all precautions necessary to stop that from occurring in the future.
Can you, Mark, just for people who don't understand, maybe who haven't been to American Beach,
Hmm.
how beach driving impacts the folks who live there?
Yes. So let me first say that we support people using the beach. We want everyone to come use the beach. We think it's a beautiful beach at American Beach. We invite people to come see our museum, learn the history of American Beach. We just don't want driving on the beach. And so how it impacts our community, as John just said, is the sea turtle hatchlings cannot um, be born on our beach as they can at other parts of the beach. We're one of the few areas in America at Amelia Island where you can drive on the beach. We want the same protection for the sea turtles at our beach as you have at every other beach. One of the other issues is the safety. So if you come out on a weekend, we will have a line of cars from one end of our beach to the other end of the beach. Some of our community people refuse to take their kids out to the beach because it's not safe. We've had incidents in the past in Florida recently of people being run over on the beach. We've had incidents in Nassau County, people being run over on the beach. And so we have kids, we have grandkids. We want to enjoy the beach safely. We can't enjoy the beach safely when there's cars on our beach. Our community citizens have tried to enjoy the beach and have been told to move by the police to make way for cars. And so again, this is our community, this is our beach. We want everyone to enjoy it, but beach driving, we don't think should be allowed. In fact, the Florida Department of Natural Resources in 1989 actually said beach driving is a dinosaur and it should be stopped. And that was in discussions with the county. The county chose to stop it at Amelia Island Resort and Summer Beach Resort, but to keep it at American Beach.
And, to your point, there was just last week a couple of teens who were run over on a beach in Sarasota County by a lifeguard.
Mhm.
So it does happen.
Mhm.
We have a call, I believe, from Kyle. Good morning, Kyle. Go ahead.
Yes.
To your point, there was just last week. Kyle, if you can turn down your radio and go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, my name's Kyle. I'm a resident of Virginia Beach. I think there's a couple things going on here. Number one, it's saying it's an environmental issue with the turtles. So Nassau County has a really good program. You go out during turtle nesting season, you'll see how many nests are identified. And not once have I heard of these nests being run over or anything like this. And number two, American Beach is, if you go to that area now, you see it filled up. It's no longer, you won't see any black people there. So it's mainly people with their vacation homes. And I think the main issue is they're tired of seeing, a bunch of people and cars on the beach. I do not believe this is an environmental issue. This is more of a restricting beach access to the public issue.
Thanks, Kyle. So we mentioned, Mark, this is a historic Black beach. It has seen a lot of growth recently,
Mhm.
and it has become a more popular place for the entire community, not least because it does provide this beach driving access.
Mhm.
To his question, though, he's saying this isn't about turtles. This is just about a community that doesn't want beach driving. Is that fair?
It's totally unfair. We have heard that we're trying to privatize the beach. We have no interest in privatizing the beach. Bernie Park has 200 parking spaces there. Evans Rendezvous in the heart of our community has about 50 parking spaces. So there's 250 parking spaces at American Beach that people can use. Come park your car, walk out to the beach, just like we do. We walk from our houses to the beach. We want people to use the beach. It is a beautiful beach. So, for someone to say we're trying to privatize the beach when there's 250 parking spaces in our community for people to park and use the beach, it's just foolishness. It's completely untrue.
It is interesting, as you say, the beaches adjacent to the north and the south, which
Mhm.
are resort beaches,
Mhm.
don't have beach driving. Those are not public beaches per se.
Correct.
They are somewhat privatized, and they are,
Mhm.
mostly inaccessible unless you're, a patron.
Right.
Um,
Well, what's interesting is we were the first resort on the island. American Beach was founded as a resort in 1935. If you go back and look at the historical documents, it refers to it as American Beach Resort. So, we were the first resort on the island. So when they passed the law in 1989, they protected Summer Beach Resort and Amelia Island Resort, but they did not protect American Beach Resort, even though we were the first resort on the island. So again, like I said, we've been asking since they passed that law in 1989 to treat us the same. We were the first resort community on the island. So why are other resorts being treated one way and we're being treated a different way?
what do we know, either of you, about the history of that agreement when it was reached in 1989, what those discussions were, and why it was that American Beach was essentially excluded from those conversations?
Well, I've reviewed the minutes from the May and June 1989 meetings. And if you take a look at those minutes, you will see that the representatives of Summer Beach and Amelia Island Resort met privately with the county, and they negotiated an agreement to pass this state law, but American Beach was not part of those discussions. So we were excluded from the discussions, which means we ended up having beach driving continuing in our community, but stopping at Amelia Island Resort and Summer Beach Resort. The minutes are very clear, and it tells tells a compelling story of how the county negotiated with Amelia Island Resort and Summer Beach Resort, but did not include American Beach as part of those discussions.
One of the comments that the caller made about, the preponderance or lack of Black people at the beach, is that relevant? Does that strike you as an accurate description?
It does not, and I would say to that, I mean, again, um, a lot of people in our community do not feel it's safe to use the beach because of the vehicles on the beach. So yes, I mean, he may be accurate in that you don't see a lot of African Americans or Blacks on the beach. It is because we have four-wheel drives all over the beach, and we don't feel it's safe for our kids to go out and play unless you're going to sit there and watch them 100% of the time. You can't let them just enjoy the beach. So yeah, I mean, I there's truth in what he says in terms of not seeing many Black people at the beach, but it's not because we don't want to go to the beach. It's because there's four-wheel drives all up and down our beach, and it's just unsafe to take your kids out to the beach.
And so how unified is the community in terms of this lawsuit? Are the people who live, property owners in the American Beach area, largely supportive of this lawsuit?
Yes, in our property owners association, I would say 90% of our community supports the ending of beach driving. The other 10% also support ending beach driving, or they would prefer that the county open beach driving to the entire island. And I would say I'm against beach driving, but if the county did open up the entire island to beach driving, I wouldn't be here. We want to be treated the same as every other community on the island. So if you open up the island to beach driving, even though I don't support beach driving, I could live with that because my community is being treated the same. The issue for us is being treated differently than the rest of the island. That's the issue. And again, it's about protecting our dunes. People don't understand that, we have a dune study that shows we've lost up to 40 feet of our dunes, which means that the houses in our community are less protected when storms come. And that damage, then you get increased insurance costs, increased property damage. Again, we just want to be treated the same. Protect our properties like you protect everyone else's properties. Protect the turtles on our beach just like you protect the turtles on everyone else's beach. Just treat us the same. That's all we're asking.
What does the lawsuit or the research say, John, about, the ability of dunes to recover on a beach where there is driving?
Well, thankfully, we hired some experts to look just at that very issue earlier this year, and they saw through historical data that the beaches to the north and the south had been able to recover their dunes pretty substantially in just a couple years. So sand can aggregate. You can take policy decisions to allow dunes to recover, but unfortunately, Nassau County in this circumstance took the opposite approach and actually moved the western boundary even farther west to the toe of the dunes, partially because tides are getting higher and higher, and there's a conflict between the dunes and the ability to continue to allow beach driving. It's a challenge, and if they don't take the adequate conservation planning in place to fix that issue, I think they're going to have some issues moving forward.
Does that become an issue for drivers or for people who are trying to recreate on the beach outside of a vehicle? I mean, you're talking about a shrinking set of boundaries.
There's a most heartbreaking story about a woman who's been coming to American Beach since the 1930s, where they basically forced her to get off of her towel and move because there was literally no room for beach driving on a holiday at high tide a couple years back. So yes, it is a emerging conflict, and especially if you can imagine if the beach is completely filled with cars, what does a sea turtle do when it's emerging to its historical ancestral laying ground for nests? It's a very big problem.
We're talking about beach driving on American Beach in Nassau County. And if you'd like to join our conversation, you can give us a call at 904-549-2937. We have a call from Felicia in Jacksonville Beach.
Hi.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning. I want to say I live in Jacksonville Beach. I am a property owner on American Beach as well. And being that the vehicles are allowed is eroding on the dunes, you can barely find place to go up. And I want to go up and sit on the beach with my family. There's hardly any room because of all the vehicles that are there, especially on the holidays. And when the young man said that turtles are protected, and those turtles are hatching, and when they are heading to the ocean, they're not protected. And they have found turtles that have been run over. People have witnessed it. So it really needs to stop driving on the beach for the people, for the environment, for the dunes, which is part of the environment, as well as for the turtles. And it's a big safety issue for all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Felicia. Mark, your thoughts.
Well, I agree 100% with what Felicia just said. I mean, it's a safety issue for the community, for the citizens of American Beach, but even for people who come visit American Beach. So I say we want all Nassau County to come and enjoy the beautiful beach. There's 250 parking spaces there. There's no need to drive on that beach. You can park like everyone else does, walk out to the beach, and then you can enjoy the beach because there wouldn't be all these trucks that are prohibiting you from enjoying the beach. As John said, with the tides coming in, you get less and less land there. And so we don't have driving lanes like they have at Peters Point. So, I mean, our area of beach is very small. And when you have a whole line of trucks for the whole half a mile, there's so little land for people to enjoy the beach that you just can't enjoy it.
Is that how much of beachfront there is there?
American Beach is half a mile of beachfront.
Wow.
Nassau County allows beach driving in about 1 mile of the property. They have 13 miles of beach. You can drive on 1 mile of it. And American Beach is half of that 1 mile.
And the
Yes.
other part is the Peters Point area?
Peters Point is about 4/10 of a mile, and then at Seaside Park is 1/10 of a mile.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then is there still beach driving down in the southern end at the state park
There is beach
portion?
driving at the state park, which is fine. I mean, I have no issue with people driving in a state park. Again, we have an issue with driving in a residential community. We are a residential community. We have an issue with the safety of driving on the beach through a residential community.
So, John, can you tell us what the process is when this lawsuit gets underway? I mean, we know that there's certain things that have to happen, this intent to sue. Now the suit has been filed. What are you waiting to hear from next?
Next, we're going to enter the discovery process where we get more details about what's happened on American Beach, and we're going to be able to prove that there has been the take of hatchlings on American Beach.
Explain what people don't know what a take is
Yeah,
necessarily.
it can be harm, death, harassment, but this particular circumstance is death. We have proof. Anthony Shippian was on the beach on September 29th, 2020, when he and his wife saw a hatchling turtle that had been run over by a 4x4. And the same thing, Adam Lavala was with his family last year, and he saw a sea turtle that had been run over. And so once you establish that there's been a death of a threatened species under the Endangered Species Act, you are then required to take the actions necessary to ensure that it's not reasonably likely that sea turtle deaths will happen again in the future. And
That-
so that's what we're going to try to get an injunction to say, until you do that habitat conservation planning, you're not going to be able to allow beach driving on this beach anymore.
Is it your assertion that Nassau County kind of failed to do what it was supposed to do, or do we not know if they knew about these turtle deaths?
Well, in 2020, these images were emailed to Nassau County officials, and the acting county attorney and the county manager at the time, in a public meeting, stated that, like the other communities in Florida that allow beach driving, Volusia County, St. Johns County, Flagler County, it's required to get a habitat conservation plan. So it was admitted that that type of planning needs to occur. It's an expensive process, but with the knowledge now and the proof, affidavits on the record that this is happening, there's no real alternative than to complete that
And so that's sort
conservation
of what's
planning
unique in
process.
Nassau County is unlike those other counties where beach driving is permitted, they don't have that federal permit.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
All right.
correct.
Well, it's an interesting issue. It's a community story that we'll continue to follow. Mark Dawkins, John November, thank you both so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.